Hello, everybody. I'm Amanda Ray, CEO of 17 Hats, and here I'm coming together with a longtime 17 Hats member and ambassador, Hannah Marie, to cheers to 10 years in business. From her business, our business, together, we are going to dive in what the last 10 years has been. Hannah, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You have been a longtime 17 Hat supporter from the beginning. Let's just give everybody a little bit of an intro, who you are, where you're from, what you do.
So I'm Hannah Marie. I am from Waterloo, Ontario, which is just about an hour outside of Toronto in Canada. And I used to do high-end families and luxury in that realm, and then shifted 100% over to headshots. So I'm in my headshot studio right now, and we do only corporate headshots and branding.
I love that. So, what year did you join 17 Hats? Were you at the very beginning, like 2014, or were you 2015?
I was like February 2015 because I was waiting for you guys to get workflows. So literally the second I saw you get workflows, I signed up.
That is interesting. Okay, so take us back to that moment. Like, why workflows? Like, what was happening in your business at the time that you were like, this is what I need. This is what I need to sign up? What was that like?
Well, there's a lot of services out there. And even just yesterday, I'm teaching a course right now on how to run a six-figure headshot studio over the summer. And one of the people in it said, "Oh, but what about this service? I know you use that for this. Why don't you use it for everything else too? Why are you using 17 apps?" And I said, "Well, workflows, in addition to everything that you've added on since then." But yeah, for me, it was like I have ADHD. So it's really important for me to just have whatever can be automated be automated. So if I can make a workflow and it's telling me, hey, like if 17 Hats can't physically do it for me, it's still setting me a reminder to do it for every single client. And so for luxury clients, that's what gave me the confidence to raise my prices as high as I did, because I was confident I could deliver the same client experience across the board. And that was really important to me.
So that was your like must need workflows. I love that you're like, I have ADHD. So like, I know that I need this. Like, you know this about yourself. You know what will help that. And so you found that in 17 Hats.
Which is actually also why I switched to headshots. Because I thought with ADHD, I thought that low volume, high touch would be better because it's like, oh, I only have to manage so many clients and they're paying me so much more. But when it's high touch, I physically have to be doing all the touch points. Whereas with headshots, it's like I literally went from like 30 clients a year with families to like 3,000 clients a year.
That's
Like
amazing.
headshots delivered. Yeah.
So I would assume so. So like I taught high school like way back in the day, and I every class I taught was a different subject. I taught art, and so it was like art 1 and art 2 and drawing and painting and AP art history and AP design and AP 3D, right? And I would look at people, like people look at me all the time and be like, "I don't know how you did it." I'm like, "I don't know how you teach the same thing over and over again." Like I would get bored out of my mind. So I think with headshots too, something that's has a shorter, like, client experience life cycle, you go through it much quicker, and that just works for your brain.
Everything is automated. Everything is automated. Literally, like, I have to answer the phone and book them in, but even that is automated. Like, my lead follow-up is automated. And I do have longer term relationships because of the companies that book with our corporate memberships. So those are even automated. Like, they get an invoice when there's only 2 headshots left on their contract. They pay for the next bunch. And then they just send their people the online booking calendar, and then all through 17 Hats, and then their people book themselves in, and then that triggers all the stuff they need to know. So it's very hands off. It's a very light lift. It's my secret. Like, I don't know why more photographers don't do it because it's so easy.
That's amazing. So, I mean, I think that over the last 10 years, do you feel like that's been your biggest transition is going, like, from this long client experience to really nailing it down to this kind of shorter client experience, more, key turn framework? Do you think that's been the biggest, like, over the last 10 years? Or what has been the biggest?
So I've been in business for 18. And so the biggest shift, there's probably a couple. One was going from like, here's all the digitals for $150 to IPS. Yeah, into IPS and like selling product. And then there was a big shift when I got my studio. So I have an actual corporate studio space now, or commercial studio space. And yeah, definitely there was a big shift. It was gradual because moving from families into headshots, I actually left my family side up and then just put on like, we're no longer accepting new clients. And then eventually had the courage to just like remove that site entirely.
That's a
Yeah, it's a
pivot. I
pretty
mean,
big
that's a
shift.
big deal. That's a
Yeah.
big shift.
And then another big shift is hiring on like my first salaried workers because that's a whole different game of learning
That's
how to
all
be an
yeah. I
employer.
mean, you're just
Yeah.
I mean, every one of these kind of pivotal moments, you're just leveling up and leveling up and leveling up. So, like, over 10 years, 18 years for you, it's just a constant cycle of doing better. Talk a little bit about that cycle and more specifically, the mindset of it, because longevity in small business, I feel like mindset is so important, right? You can go out and do and do and do, and you can worry about today, tomorrow, the next 30 days, or you can go out and go, okay, what does this look like in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? But I think people have to get their mindset right, really, and their mindset moving in the right direction for the longevity to occur. So, can you talk to me a little bit about your mindset over the last 10, 18 years for you?
So definitely being malleable, knowing that like what I set out thinking I would do, which was like at the beginning, I was like, it was all about like the candid portraits of kids in parks, which I still love. And I was like, I would never do studio portraiture. And then realizing like, oh, maybe this would actually be better for my company and recognizing that like what's amazing for me and great for me isn't what's going to work for somebody else. I have friends like Megan DePiro and she literally teaches like don't niche down. And I'm the opposite. I'm like, but for me, I need to niche down so that I can hyper focus and do it excellently. So recognizing that like what works for some people won't work for others and also learning from the people like I still learn from people who are doing things that I wouldn't do, but always, 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 always learning, always applying and recognizing like what is working for me, what isn't, what could I do better.
I love the always learning because I feel like for longevity, you do have to always be learning. You got to kind of put the ego aside and go, okay, what is it that I can learn here? It's a 1% better every day. It might just be a little bit of something, but that learner's mindset goes a long way.
And I'm always tweaking. Like the people in my summer class right now, I call it a summer class because it's through the summer, but my headshot studio launch course, they are seeing every week I'll come in and I'll be like, okay, so this is what I learned this week. So I just designed this little thing and now I'm handing this out to people. So they're like also seeing me learn in live time. And I think that's been really neat for them.
I love that. Tweaking, I think just revising and tweaking is something we don't do enough, right? So looking at our process or what's going on in our business and saying, okay, what's working? Okay, let's amplify that. And what's not working? And okay, let's change that. I feel like people are very scared of change. Even if things aren't working for them, they're still scared of change.
Yeah. And it might be like all you need to do is tweak this one, like the wording of your website. Or maybe it's like often I'm going to blame the websites. A lot of the time it's the communication and marketing messaging. People just have way too much there. I love all of that stuff and just like really honing in. A lot of people are afraid to just specialize in one thing in photography because then they're afraid there won't be enough work. But oftentimes there's plenty of work. The more honed in you are, then the higher you can charge.
Yeah, there's plenty of work. I mean, gosh, there's enough fish in the sea, right? I mean, that is something that we know and something that's been proven. But you really do. Yeah, you got to look at it and say, okay, what is it that I want to do? What is it that I'm good at? And dive into that a little bit too and not be scared of that. I think that's the big thing is if it's something that you're really passionate about, something that you really want to dive into, gosh, you should do it. But it doesn't mean you have to do it all at once. I think that's the other thing with tweaking too. I heard you say earlier that like you kind of phased out that family portraiture, right? Then went into headshots. And whether it's photography or balloon artist or whatever your profession is, all businesses go through that same thing. It doesn't have to be turn it off today and turn it on tomorrow. So talk to us a little bit about that transition.
Yeah. And same like if you're in a day job, you don't have to immediately like leave that and go all in. Like you can slowly ease into it. That was just for me. Like I still wasn't accepting new clients. But it was like that brand, the Hannah Marie brand was part of me for so long. And as a family brand, I still have like artwork up on my walls from it. But I'm slowly transitioning the studio space over to more corporate as well. But yeah, making that transition, I would definitely say it's good to have some guidance from somebody who's already at where you want to be. And listen less to the people who aren't doing what you want to be doing. Because people who aren't doing it have all of their own fears they're projecting onto you. And the people who are already there are going to be like, yeah, of course you can do this. Like, easy peasy.
That is such great advice. Talk to me a little bit about automation. With 17 Hats, you waited for workflow, you wanted the automation. Talk to me about the role automation has played in your business and in your business growth since using 17 Hats, gosh, 10 years ago till today.
I mean, automation for high volume is everything because I said, like, we're shooting thousands of headshots a year and it's everything. So from the minute I get an inquiry, I'm still OG. So I still get a text from
Oh,
17
you're
Hats every time I get an
very
inquiry.
OG.
Like, I am not giving that up because I love
Yeah.
it. And so I'll get
Don't
a
edit
text.
that
And
lead.
if I'm
Don't
available,
don't
oh,
edit
I'm
that
not.
lead.
I am
That's
not
for
editing
fun.
them.
For the rest of you, if
I
you
know.
download the app for the rest of you, if you download the app, you're going to get a notification. Hopefully, we can bring that texting back sooner than later, but, it's so great.
Yeah, so download the app. I also have the app, so I also get it there. That just means like I can instantly see who's inquiring. I get all the information right there on my screen and I can hit call right away. So while I'm calling them, I'm pulling it up on my laptop. Or sometimes I do this out grocery shopping. Like wherever I am, if I'm available, I will call them back because the turnaround rate for booking is like 98% conversion rate if I call them instantly. And it drops significantly like every 10 or 20 minutes that you wait.
Every minute that you wait, your conversion drops. Like, we know that people are most excited about your business when they contact you.
And for headshots specifically, it's a much lower bar of entry. Like they don't really care who the photographer is. Whereas for like weddings or newborns or balloons for events, like they want to vet you. For headshots, they just want to know you can do what they need. Like they usually book me right away. They're not looking for quotes unless it's a company. And we're number one on Google. So if I call and answer right then and there, they haven't inquired with anybody else and they're not comparing anybody. If I wait 10 minutes, suddenly they're like, okay, I'm waiting to hear back from so and so. So anyway, I call them back immediately and then I trigger, if they don't answer, I trigger my leads workflow and that's all automated. So it tells me when to call them back on day 2 and 7. And then it also generates the emails for those days. And if they do book right away, then I triggered whatever workflow I need. So it sends all of the emails, it automates everything. The teams in our corporate prepay, like I said, they book through the online calendar. And that is all, their whole workflows are triggered by whatever team they select. So if they have custom what to wear emails, anything like that. And I really sell my clients on that, like the people organizing it, because it makes their lives so much easier. They just do one
Oh, I
big
love
bulk pay
that.
and everything's automated.
It's not just about you, it's about them as well.
It's always about like, just give your new onboarders this QR code and they can book themselves in. You don't even have to talk to me. It's just all done.
What a great experience for them.
Yeah, it's amazing. They love it. And it's a no-brainer. Like actually just today, I had somebody I was having a meeting with about 60 headshots and he wasn't sure if everyone would be able to make it that day. So I said, no problem. We'll do the 3 hour shoot in the morning for everyone that can make it because we shoot about 20 per hour. And then everyone that doesn't, we'll put them into the corporate prepay. And then as you have new onboarders, you can put them there. And that just locks them in as our client ongoing for indefinitely. So it makes their life so easy.
That's amazing. I love that you have all of this automated, all of this moving and grooving. Because all of this is automated, what has that allowed you to do in your business, right? You have everything automated, you're saving a ton of time. What is that automation? What's the benefit of that automation for you?
Again, with ADHD, and I wasn't like an adult diagnosis. I was like as a child, like I've known my whole life. If my brain gets overloaded with too many different tasks, it literally just shuts down and it's like this block of I can't actually do this. Like, and only people with ADHD will understand this or if you live with somebody, but like having it all automated means I don't need to keep track of all of the corporate people wanting to book in. It saves me time like on the phone trying to coordinate between me and the organizer and the new staff. It just makes my business so much lighter to lift. And it's very profitable because of that too, because then I'm not having to trade my time for that. It's just already done. And headshots is very profitable. It's really nice to be able to ensure that everybody's getting the same experience. They're getting all the same information. In my day of email, like the reminder, it's a hyperlink for like Google Maps and Apple Maps so they know exactly where to come. It's just everything. Yeah.
That's awesome. A few last questions for you. Somebody just getting into business, whether headshots or photography or just business in general, what would be your advice for
Mhm.
them?
I would say do something that you love. And like you can't go into business for yourself if you don't enjoy what you're doing. And I will touch on one of the things that you said earlier was like you didn't know how some teachers teach one thing all day and how they stay interested. For me, it shifted from like the art and the art that I'm creating isn't as interesting, but I get to connect with people all day. And that's what I find engaging. So understanding like your skill set and what you enjoy and what gives you life. Because if you're trying to force something that just drains you, like, what kind of a life is that? So I would also look at profitability and get finances in order. Just starting out in business, definitely look at profitability margins and ensure that like you're not running a nonprofit.
Absolutely. You're not running a charity here or running a business. Hannah, if they want to learn more about you or follow you anywheres, I know that you teach courses as well. Where can people find you?
So on Instagram, it's Hannah Marie Photographer. And my website is hannahmarie.ca. And that's where you'll find all my education for headshot photographers. And hannahmarie.ca/slash headshot launch is where you'll find everything about the headshot course that I'm teaching.
Amazing. Well, Hannah, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your 10-year journey for us. We appreciate you as a member, as an ambassador, and of course, personally as a friend.
Yay!
So thank you for joining me. And to everybody else, we'll talk soon.